Hey, welcome. Alright, I wanted to do a quick review of Sierra Circuits. Sierra Circuits is a PCB manufacturer. They also do assembly, and they have a lot of tools, services, and products available. So I recently provided a design to Sierra Circuits, and I wanted to go over the general process of getting a quote and how you can use Sierra Circuits to build your own boards. So, and I also want to give my feedback on how my experience went. All right, let's get into it. First, when you go on Sierra Circuits or protoexpress.com, you get the option for advanced PCBs, fabrication and assembly, and self-service boards. I like to do fabrication and assembly and get a quote. There are a number of ways you can get a quote, like getting the instant quote. You just need to upload your bill of materials and your details for the board. So let me show you. Once you make an account, all you need to do is enter a part number, the revision, how many layers you want. Let's say you want a 4-layer board. That's 5 inches by 5 inches. And you set your settings. A typical finished thickness is 62 thousandths of an inch, but it doesn't have to be that. You can do 47 mils, 20 mils, but let's go with 62 just because. And let's say you want 445 holes on the board. So you would need to have your board designed, right? But if you were to just take a guess, and then you can hover over the text to see how much, like you get to see information. They have notes here if you hover over the text. Typically you would have a minimum hole size of, whatever. And then you put in all the information, the outside copper layer and the inner, And then it quotes automatically for however many boards. Do you want electrical testing? Yes. I always go with yes for important boards. Is your design restricted by ITAR? No, not this one. So you can get your pricing, and then it just gives it to you just like that. It really is instant. It's super easy. So if you have a standard set of boards, a standard set of specifications for your boards, really easy to get quotes, and then you can compare the quotes to other manufacturers. So let's say you want 1-day turnover, and the prices are quite reasonable, and it asks if, do you want an assembly? Do you need an assembly? I say yes, right? Now if you want an assembly, you would say 4343, something like that. Assembly A. Do you have a BOM file? No. How many? Number of line items BOM. You'd say 41 or something like that. And then even if you don't have a BOM, it gives you an estimate. Then you select pricing based on the rough numbers. So this is a very quick way to get an idea of the assembly. Say you want 4 days turnover. No, I will provide all the components, or yes, do you want turnkey or something like that? To get a component quote, you must mark BOM file, the BOM field, and so on and so forth. But this is the fast way to do it. Okay. And what's also cool is you get all the PCB specs, the summary, and you can change and modify the turn time and the number of assemblies and boards you want fabricated. So you can requote and also save the quotes you did already. Just fantastic. And then you could even change, it's just wonderful. Choose order now. And are we going to send us components? They just have everything in here. It's fantastic. Then you would upload your Gerber or ODB++ files, and then they do the real assessment just to make sure they requote once they've got it in. But this is a good way to get a good idea of ability to do a fabrication and assembly quote without submitting any files first is fantastic. I love that. I also like how easy the process is. They also do Turnkey Pro, where this is where you put in your information, but you have your advanced options and you fill in your bill of materials and all that stuff to get the real quote. Yeah. Now for the tools, a lot of people ask me, how do I calculate trace width? How do I calculate trace width? It's always a new question it's always a question for new designers. And here's how you do it. You get your trace width, you go into tools, do your trace width calculator, get started. And it's just right here. It's so convenient. The trace thickness can be in ounces, or if you want it in mils, like 1.4 mils for a 1 ounce trace. Trace length, resistance at ambient, well, it'll let you know the resistance at ambient temperature. Okay, you fill in your information. That's how you calculate your trace, the minimum trace width you need on a PCB to carry a certain current. Then you have the bill of materials checker tool. You check your BOM, get free DFM and DFA checks, just like that. So that's super convenient. The PCB stack-up planner. Okay, so when would you use the bill of materials tool? Yeah, you'd use that when you're done checking your schematic and making sure that your schematic is sound. The PCB stack-up planner, you use this before you start doing your PCB layout. If this board is actually going to manufacturing, you want to do your stack up first. So as soon as you get into your PCB phase, don't place parts. I mean, they might be placed automatically, you know, whatever, but don't mess with anything else. Look at the PCB stack up, especially for impedance control traces on PCBs. Talk to the manufacturer. That's when you start the relationship with them, even sooner. And then PCB material selector, yeah, you choose your materials to find out what kind of impedances can be done. You have your impedance calculator, which makes sense if you're doing high-speed boards, which nowadays something's high-speed somewhere in a PCB. And better DFM. Where this comes in, so let me explain. Your PCB stack-up planner, PCB material, and your impedance calculator, these come before you do your PCB layout in the software tool. Once you're done with these, then start your PCB layout, because these tell you your constraints. All right, now for tools, better DFM, this is where this is when you're done laying out your PCB, you get started, and then you submit your manufacturing files. Even if you have a DFM checking procedure or process on your side, on the design side, always check your finished files in the better DFM tool. It's going to find and detect things that you have to fix. It's always the case. I also like their resources for learning PCB design. You know, they have the design guides as well. If you want to get a general idea of annular ring, the different software, just all kinds of stuff, then you look at that. They have webinars, the blog posts. The design cards is what does it for me. These are just really fantastic. Download these. You can get them for free. And then of course you can contact them, track your orders, so on and so forth. And also making an account is free. All right. So overall, the ordering process, when I ordered it, the communication was always professional. We set up a meeting for a decent sized order, and the prices were reasonable. Also, when I submitted the design, the engineers worked on it already. As soon as you pay, they start working on it. And this is after you get an initial quote, though. They start working on it. They get you a real quote, then you pay, then the engineers work on it. Then they ask you questions like, hey, is this component supposed to be oriented this way or this way? How is it supposed to be rotated? blah blah blah, all that stuff. They'll ask, they'll also check whether the footprint matches what the recommendation has on the data sheet. So they're really thorough. Now you want to pay, I think that may come with the testing payment. I'm not sure if that's standard or whatnot, but that really saves your rear end, because you don't want your client, your customer, or yourself to have to waste boards because of wrong footprints and stuff like that. So then I reworked the design, corrected the footprint errors, some solder mask errors. I got most of them by the nature of my software tool. I used OrCAD for this. It already has a DFM check, but I didn't check 100% everything by the time I sent the board in, or I missed a couple things, I should say. So that extra mile that they go to make sure that your stuff is correct, even though it takes some time, which is my mistake, my error, that extra mile they go to catch that, just phenomenal. All right. And then when the project's done, they communicate with you. They let you know that it's done being checked, and then their lead times are really solid. Their prices are solid for the lead times, very reasonable and reliable. So it's hard to say. I mean, this video isn't even sponsored. It's just the process was so good that I couldn't leave it at a text review. Sierra Circuits did a bang up job on this, on my most recent order, and by bang up job, I mean fantastic. That's just a term to say, just really great. I really don't have any negatives with the Sierra experience. That's what I'll call it, the Sierra experience. Okay, so if you're looking for a manufacturer in the United States, they are in California, by the way. If you're looking for a manufacturer and assembly company that's reliable, it's great, makes things easy, and gets the job done well, Sierra Circuits is the way to go. Okay, yeah, I was just so impressed by how they did things that I had to make this video. All right, if you have any questions, leave them in leave them below. If you have any comments, leave them below. If you have your recommendations on manufacturers in the US or anywhere really, then let us know. All right, thanks for watching. See you next time.